Good afternoon, Patriot pals. Thank you for joining me. Have a good day and God bless you. Let's get into the news. It's been 2 years of Joe Biden's DOJ headed by Merrick Garland being used essentially as an arm of the DNC, an arm of Biden's administration doing his bidding. Actually, rather than an arm, it's been more of a strong arm. There's been many documented cases of clear political bias, what seem to be attacks on conservative voters and conservative politicians, while Democrats essentially get a pass. And there's many people, especially conservatives, with legitimate concern and questions that need answering, but we haven't really had a moment to get some answers for Merrick Garland, at least until now. The House GOP, I have to admit, has been on fire, and it seems like now even Republican senators are getting on board as the investigation into weaponization and politicization of the DOJ and the FBI is kicking into full gear. Merrick Garland was brought into a hearing to testify, and he got absolutely BTFO basically, from all angles, an embarrassing display of incompetence and dishonesty, I guess, confirming that Merrick Garland doesn't have any real answers, no real justification, no counter to the claim that his DOJ is totally partisan. Alright folks, so I mentioned examples earlier, but I didn't really go into too much detail. Left-wing bias seems to be deeply baked into the FBI and the DOJ in the current day, Antifa and far-left activist groups roaming the streets. Setting churches on fire, attacking pro-life centers is probably the most classic, clear and blatant example showing FBI and DOJ non-action when concerned parents showed up at school board meetings protesting predator teachers and an inappropriate curriculum. Merrick Garland and the DOJ 6 FBI agents on those parents clearly because they were perceived as a right-wing extremist threat. But when Antifa goons threatened the lives of Supreme Court justices or attack pro-life centers, and, in some cases, even write their names on the wall, the DOJ does nothing, and Merrick Garland's response to this line of questioning was absolutely pathetic. There's no other way to describe it. And then, some significant news. One of the most stunning developments to come out of the otherwise disappointing midterm elections in November was the amazing gains made by America First patriots at local government and municipal levels across the country. The most dramatic takeovers took place in Ottawa County, Michigan. In fact, the shift in power was so dramatic that the ultra-left MSNBC radicals gave a panicked report on it. Let's take a listen. On the same election day, a group of far-right Republicans in Ottawa County west of Grand Rapids unseated 7 traditional Republicans on the county board. The 7 Republicans, who are part of a group called Ottawa Impact, pledged to, quote, recognize our nation's Judeo-Christian heritage and celebrate America as an exceptional nation blessed by God. That pledge and other actions have led one fellow board member to say it's becoming more and more evident that these people are Christian nationalists. Oh no, not the Christian nationalists, no, the new boogeyman of the lamestream media. But yes, they're right. The Patriot wing of the Republican Party, the wing dedicated to faith, family and freedom, absolutely crushed the competition in Ottawa County and captured the whole of the Republican Party there. But in many respects that's just par for the course and what's happening in a state like Michigan. In fact, there's an organization more than any other that's storming across the state. And that's the organization called America First, a growing movement of patriots dedicated to restoring the God-given freedoms and liberties that have made our nation a shining city on the hill. To do that, America First Republicans have been systematically taking over county after county after county. In fact, according to Reuters, America First Republicans now control local party leadership, and more than half of Michigan's 83 counties. Absolutely astonishing. But what's happening in Michigan is reflective of actually what's happening in counties all across the nation. More and more local Republican Party chapters are being taken over by patriot activists dedicated to faith, family, and freedom. In fact, it's simply reflective of what's happening to the Republican Party as a whole. The latest survey showed that a majority of the party identifies as, yes, Christian nationalists, either in terms of strong support, or at least in terms of sympathy. And what's key here is that according to the Public Religion Research Institute, 21% of Republicans are all in with Christian nationalism. Now, 21% are strong supporters. And that's huge because according to tipping point theory, you need 20 to 25% of dedicated adherents for people to start migrating en masse to the new paradigm, which in this case would be the Christian nationalist populist paradigm of America First. Remember, right now, the frustration is is that the Republican Party is largely a nationalist populist light party rather than a nationalist populist right party. Right. It's an important distinction to make to understand the tension that's going on inside the party. A populist right party versus a populist light parcel. A populist right party is a mega party in America, first party from top to bottom, from bottom to top. All riders on neocons have either left the party or they've adjusted themselves to the new political reality, like Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio are trying to do. It's a full-blown patriot party. On the other hand, a nationalist light party, this is key. It's a party that has a MAGA base, a nationalist populist grassroots, but a neocon rhino establishment leadership. And so while the rhino neocon establishment certainly very happy to really reap the electoral rewards of the growing populist movement, they still have an establishment mentality which easily digresses back to their rhino globalist norms, which so often involves alienating the deplorable base by throwing them under the bus. And this is because a populist right party and a populist light party operate by two fundamentally different politics. The populist right party operates by a politics of the people where the values, interests and concerns of the megabase are represented faithfully by their elected officials. This is why we love Trump. He did that so well for 4 years. However, a populist light party is governed not by the politics of the people, but rather by a politics of the establishment, where GOP elected officials promote and protect the values, interests, concerns of the permanent political class as amplified by the shameless cheerleading of the mainstream Marxist media. But slowly but surely, the Republican Party is indeed changing. And it's changing fundamentally at the local county levels, and we're seeing right now how taking over the counties promises to remake not just the party but the nation as a whole. Right now, the county strategy appears to be working rather astonishingly for Republicans. According to the Brookings Institute back in 2008, Democrat voting districts encompass 39% of US land area as compared with the 61% expanse of Republican districts. But 10 years later, in 2018, that number changed dramatically. Democrat voting districts imploded to just 20% of the map, while Republicans now dominate 80% of the nation's land area. Democrats have become almost entirely a coastal metropolitan party. In fact, one former Democrat representative of Tennessee, represented by the name of Jim Cooper, he's predicting that the Democrats are, quote, facing extinction in the great red state of Tennessee where he won, sir. And the primary reason for this is that the primary voter demographic is moving increasingly away from the urban city-dwelling voter to the ex-urban rural-dwelling voter, a trend that we've been keeping up with some time now on this channel. Over the last several years, scholars have noticed a very discernible trend of what's known as de-urbanization or counter-urbanization, where populations en masse are leaving the liberal progressive cosmopolitan cities in favor far more conservative ex-urban rural areas. And this is shifting the political centers that were away from the cities and more towards rural regions. And it's putting this county strategy by patriot Republicans front and center of the new political realignment going on throughout the nation. So we'll certainly be keeping an eye on how things develop here. But if the strategy that we're seeing in our nation's counties works the way patriots are intending, a new patriot age really is just around the corner. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Of course, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and of course possibly subscribe if you're up for it. I'm gonna get back to work. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the